In this video, we will discuss about mechanobiological response in the cells. So what is this mechanobiological response means? It means that because of the extracellular matrix, there are some forces exerted on the cell proteins that are present on the cell surface, or transmembrane proteins, and those transmembrane proteins, because of the mechanical physical force or mechanical-biological force, will stimulate some signaling pathways within the cells, that is within the cytoplasm. And after these signals are triggered in cytoplasm, they will further triggers in the nucleus. They will further trigger some upregulations or downregulations of the genes within the nucleus, and that will lead to the change in the epigenetics, or change in the protein expression, that is epigenetic changes will occur. So we will understand first what are the forces that might cause this kind of mechanical biological response. This could be the matrix stiffness force or the extracellular matrix stiffness, and we have discussed the role of this extracellular matrix stiffness in our previous videos. You can refer those previous videos by going through this I link. So this stiff matrix stiffness and soft matrix stiffness will have different mechanobiological force and will trigger will and cell will respond differently in this stiff or soft matrix, or stiff or soft extracellular matrix. The next thing is this dynamic force. Sometimes cells exert, especially in the case of the cells are in the blood vessels. They exert additional force because of the velocity of the blood that is flowing within the blood vessels. So that will cause the cells to behave differently when they are transporting via blood vessels. The last part is the surface pattern. Surface pattern will also trigger the cells to behave differently. This thing we have also discussed in our previous videos, in which we have discussed how the cells which are towards the direction of migrations behave differently than the cells who are not facing the direction of migrations. These things you can understand through this plasticity of the cells topic that we have covered in one of our videos. The last thing is this matrix. So some of the studies that are conducted in vitro are either on 2D dimensional and 3D dimensional, and both of them affects the cells differently. As in the case of 2D dimensional, cells will exert force only at the periphery, whereas in the 3D dimensional, cells will exert force not only at the circular periphery but also at the whole uh, cell surface area that is available in the 3D structures. And other things, let us cover these basics things also, then we will go through the example. That is because of the matrix mediated cell response, what might uh, what changes might be occurred in the cells. Those are mentioned here, such as the proliferations might occurs because of the epigenetic changes, and the cell might spread across each other, and the cell differentiations might also cause, because sometimes uh, the different sometimes different kind of cellular matrix might trigger cell differentiations, and these things usually occurs when for the stem cells. And the other things, that is because of the cell mediated matrix remodeling, because sometimes cells will release some of the cytokines that will cause change in the cellular matrix, such as these matrix metalloprotease proteins, for example, will cause matrix degradation, and some proteins will recruit some cytokines in the matrix. It will and also the ECM synthesis will also occur because of the different kind of cytokines that are released by the cells, and these things in combined together might form a, in the case of cancer cells. So these are some of the we can say vice versa response, that is response within the cells because of the matrix, and other response is other responses within the ECM because of the uh, remodeling within the cells that cause different kind of cytokines released in the cellular matrix. Now we will go through one example. Which one is this? We will start with this mechanosensation. So in this case, what will happen is that this integrins, several integrins come together to trigger signaling pathways within the cells, such as this vinsulin, interact, vinsulin, paxillin, and taline come together. And also when they come together, they will recruit FAK and then trigger signaling pathways within the cytoplasm. And this part is the cytoplasm, and all this thing will come together within the cytoplasm, and this thing will occur when the uh, uh, substrate, that is alpha beta, experience some of the mechanobiological forces the that cause the activations or these integrins activations that will trigger the following uh, that will trigger the following this following signaling pathways that will trigger the following signaling pathways within the cytoplasm because of this integrins that will come together. The alpha beta integrins come together will leads to the this uh, paxillin, and taline to come together, and at the same time it will recruit FAK to trigger signaling pathways. The next thing is that the other way by which this mechanobiological response can occur is via mechanotransduction. It is they can directly transduce the cells through the pore, such as this calcium transfer. At the same time, these integrin receptors will trigger different signaling pathways, such as ROCK signaling pathways, link signaling pathways, that will lead to the change in the neoplasm. So these are a direct mechanical transduction process. The first one is mechanosensation. That is because of the force that are exerted on the transmembrane proteins or integrins will lead to the signaling pathway activation within the cytoplasm. The next part is the next part is this, that is mechanotransductions. It's also mechanotransduction. That in other words, it will just go through this part, that is link response. So in this case, what happens is that the this neo Nesprin connected with the affectin interact with the laminin that are present within the that is present within the nucleus and is connected to this nuclear membrane or nucleus membrane, and these interactions will lead to the upregulations or downregulations of a particular gene, or in other terms that will cause the epigenetic changes, and these changes are initially triggered by mechanosensation or mechanotransduction, and because of these changes it will cause epigenetic changes. Because of this mechanotransductions response will lead to the epigenetic changes. And what are the final outcomes that that cells will observe because of this mechanobiological response that leads to the epigenetic changes is that cells might either proliferate, that is it will grow at a faster rate, or it might migrate or acquire the ECM characteristics. And sometimes this mechanotransduction force can also trigger apoptosis, and that will lead to the cell death. And sometimes when there is stem cells under specific cellular matrix or cytokines, it can trigger differentiation. So these are the mechano responses that will be result of this mechanobiological forces. So I hope you got a basic idea about this mechanical biological response within the cells. If you need to understand this mechanical biological response topic in detail, you can go through the reference that has been provided in the description. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time.